I've often said there are three questions that I think would destroy most of the arguments on the left. And the first is, compared to what? The second is, at what cost? And the third is, what hard evidence do you have? Now, there are very few ideas on the left that can pass all three of those kinds of things.
What's going on, everyone? It's Toss Weekend here today. We're reacting to kind of what Thomas Sowell's been saying, that three questions that the left cannot answer: compared to what, compared to who, and at what cost. So my ideas of this concept is that most leftist ideas are based in idealism, right? They think of a utopian vision of what the world could be instead of accepting for what the world is, right? So can conservatives answer this question? I believe most can. And Thomas Sowell, there's a clip, I'm going to put a clip right here where Thomas Sowell is explaining why conservatives can explain this idea. Take a look.
Can conservative ideas pass those?
Yes, I think so, because they don't assume that there is a solution out there.
You seen that and heard that. So Thomas Sowell puts the case that because of the liberal perspective, the leftist perspective, or the right perspective, and I'm taking more of a libertarian perspective on this because right now I'm reading a book called The Libertarian Mind. I want to educate myself more on all the political perspectives out there, right? And the libertarian perspective is they don't divide things based on individuality or collectivism. Libertarians divide things based on which side is for more government or less government, right? So conservatives are on the side of less government because conservatives believe that the government cannot guarantee like happiness, essentially. Bruh. Right? But the pursuit of happiness is what gives happiness, not the guarantee of it. No utopia will ever be possible in our world. That is the argument conservatives and I am making. Like, this is my belief. My belief is I don't want the government to do anything for me, because when the government do something for me, I become dependent on the government. All you have to do is look at welfare. Bruh. Right? That's the perfect example. Welfare will penalize you if you make more money, right? That's not an incentive to go out and make a living for yourself. That's an incentive for you to stay in the control of the government. That's the truth. That's the facts. That's the reality, right? I live in the world of reality, and the reality is the government is only supposed to be a referee. The only thing a government can guarantee is your right to do what you see fit. The right of your life, liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. That means you're striving for happiness, because at the end of the day, happiness is different for every individual. And the government can't make a one-size-fit-all solution for all people in America. That's the reality. I guys could disagree, but that is the reality, and this is the perspective that Thomas Sowell is taking, and I agree with this. Right? So in the next clip here, Thomas Sowell is going to go into the different views that the liberals and the conservatives have on various issues. This is specifically 2012, I believe. And this was about Walmart. And I guess something happened with Walmart. I don't have all full context, but the argument as a whole is what I'm really trying to reference for in this clip. Take a look.
They really are for helping. They're for helping people who are disadvantaged, as they put it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think conservatives want to stop people from being disadvantaged. In other words, the liberals want to help the poor while they're poor, but really the biggest benefit is to stop them from being poor, and that they have very little interest in.
That's the facts. Look, that's bro. Bruh. That's the facts. The left is only interested in helping the poor while they're poor. After you become poor, they look at you like, how dare you become self-sustaining? How dare you become independent? How dare you become self-reliant? That's the reality. That I don't care about the intentions. I'm looking at the result. I already specified the welfare result. You make a certain amount of income, they penalize you, right? Imagine that. Welfare benefits equate to, if you put it in an economic sense, $55,000 a year salary. That's bruh. And then they'll remove you off of welfare if you make more than, I think, $26,000 a year. Bruh. You're not incentivizing them to be self-sustaining. You're incentivizing them to stay in the system. You get more benefits staying in the system than trying to make it out on your own. And you increase your economic status increment by increment. So they're like, okay, before you become self-sustaining, halfway mark, you make $27K a year or more. You're getting off. Welfare. They'll take you out. They'll say, oh, but if you make less money. I don't know how many times personal friends of mine, because I grew up in Miami. highly Hispanic population. So I had friends where their mom was like, oh, my mom's going back. She don't want to get a raise because it'll threaten her welfare. That sound like helping the poor, or that's making them comfortable being poor? You make the decision. And this is the perspective that Thomas Sowell is saying. While in the conservative side, conservatives saying, hey, pull yourself by your bootstraps. The conservative perspective on this is, hey, at least this should be a temporary thing. Hey, we're trying to set you up for success so that way you're not relying on the government. So you don't need the government. So that way we can cut back funding for the government, because social entitlements is the biggest, I guess, bloat on the government's finances right now. And libertarians make this argument, and I'm gonna try to make this argument the best that I can. The libertarians, and I actually, let me not use the libertarians. I make this argument that the fact that the government came in and said, oh, we'll take care of people's retirement, we'll take care of people's health care, we'll take care of people's food and housing needs. Charities that were already doing these things, people donated less to them because they had this idea, oh, the government's going to take care of it. Bruh. Right. And the incentive that's being placed on private society. Right. And you can compare this to when Ronald Reagan came in 1981, more people donated to charity than they did the previous years with Lyndon B. Johnson. And that's because the society realized, oh, the government's not going to take care of this, so we better take care of this. Right. And that's the incentive I'm trying to say. The bigger the government, the less self-reliant the American people becomes. And I just think, hey, it's incentive. It's an incentive structure. That's the reality of what government provides to us. It creates incentives of whether we do something or we don't do something. Because at the end of the day, we're not machines. Humans are not machines. We react to things. We react to incentive, right? If you put an incentive where, oh, government's going to take care of everything, in my mind, I'm like, okay, why donate to charity if the government's just going to handle it? Now, if the government's not handling it, I'm like, oh, we should donate to charity. Oh, because these charity people are doing stuff that the government's not doing. Whenever the government comes in, they do it less effective than actual people. Because the government doesn't worry about misusing resources, because it just takes resources from other people. It's like giving $1 million, and the lottery proved this every single time. You give a bunch of money to people who never had the capacity to earn that money in the first place, and what they do with it. Bruh. They squander it.
What is the liberal premise?
I guess the Rousseau notion, that man is born free but is everywhere in chains, that the real problem of the world is that the institutions are wrong. If the institutions were right, then there was nothing in human nature that would cause us to be unhappy. It's the fact that we have the wrong institution.
What is the conservative premise?
That man is flawed from day one, and that there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And whatever you do to deal with one of man's flaws, it creates another problem, but that you try to get the best trade-off you can get, and that's all you can hope for.
Wise words have never been spoken, right? And this is why it's a shame that not a lot of people know who Thomas Sowell is, right? He just broke down the premise, the outlook, and the just pure perspective of both sides without trying to disparage one or the other, right? Conservatives, we believe that, hey, everyone's flawed. And the fact that everyone's flawed, the way we go about creating laws and bills, we want to make sure that no bad actor has the ability to misuse the system. Bruh. For instance, welfare should be temporary. Oh, why welfare should be temporary? This is the conservative point of view. The conservative will be like, hey, we don't want people to become dependent on the government, and this becomes a lifestyle. Liberals go, no, it won't. No one's going to be dependent on the government. People are just going to use it when they need it, and when they're done, they'll get off it on their own accord. Bruh. How's that working out for y'all? Because Thomas Sowell been talking about this since the 60s, before they implemented most of this stuff. He was talking about, hey, like, you don't have to tell them to stay on welfare. All you have to do is subsidize it. Thomas Sowell's been speaking about this, and he's speaking from personal experience, and I am all here for it. I'm here for it. Because it's so blatant that people would try to take advantage of a system, right? And then that caused dependency on the government. And then when the Democrats dangle the carrot on the stick saying, hey, if you don't vote for us, they're going to take your welfare away. They're going to take this away. The people are like, oh no, my means of taking care of myself, they're going to take it away, right? The incentive that liberals put out with these welfare state or these statist policies is that you create dependence and you make people comfortable in their situation. And that's the reality. While conservatives, they're pushing people, hey, like, stop becoming dependent on the government, be self-reliant. If you want to be responsible for yourself, then you have to take care of yourself, right? And I always say this, if they can feed you, they can starve you, right? You can't have authority without responsibility. So if the government's responsible for your health care, your Medicare, your housing, your food, they have authority over you. And this is what the Democrats do to the black community every 4 years. They'll tell them, oh, you better vote for me, or else they're going to take your welfare away. Does that sound like a people that have leverage?
Nope.
It's not. But people want to come here, get mad at me.
How dare you?
Because I'm speaking out against this. Do nothing for me. That is conservatism. Self-reliance. That is conservatism. Right? The government can incentivize us to do more, can incentivize us to do the right thing. And that's what conservatives see it as. But we don't see it as a perfect solution because we believe there is no perfect solution. Everything's trade-offs. But hey, I digress. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the video. I hope you guys like the format. I'm trying to switch it up a little bit, try different things, new things. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I really appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.